Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Imagine that you are sitting with your wife and you are on a beautiful beach in a beautiful island. You've just climbed up the highest mountain. The view is impeccable and it's sunset or sunrise, whatever. And you're so proud of yourself as a man. You're just so proud of your achievement that you have brought her there. This is something that she never even dreamed of. And you yourself never thought that you're going to achieve this. And as you're sitting down to watch the sun come up or go down, whatever it is, and to admire the beauty of that island, it's just impeccable, subhanAllah. Your wife turns to you and looks you in the eyes and says, I've already been here a few times. This is not my first time. What would you say as a man? What would you think? How would you feel? All that work that you put in. And she says, I've been here before. This is the modern paradigm that we are living in. And while a lot of women, and some men even sadly, might think, well, what's wrong with that? It's okay, not a big deal. It is a big deal. Because for the longest time throughout humanity, men were able to take women to places, whether actual islands or whatever, but just be for them their first lover, their first protector. Well, second, let's say after their father. But their first on many things, many experiences. Even if they're small, the woman was happy and satisfied. He was her captain, he was her leader, he was her protector, he was her provider. She would be, in a sense, relatively speaking, happy with some of the new experiences that this man was able to take her to. Now, I know what a lot of women might say here. Well, a lot of guys are just rubbish. They can't even do this. They can't even do that. I'm talking about men who tried their best to give that woman the best. I'm talking about not losers who just sit around and do nothing and play games. I'm talking about men who have actually worked hard and put in the work and who are sincere, decent men. Okay? This is what I'm talking about. Now, for the first time, so he was her captain. He was the man who basically runs the ship. He's the pilot. For the first time in humanity, they can say, well, I got my own ship. Yours is okay, but like I'm okay with mine. My ship is good. My airplane is good enough. I can be my own captain. I can be my own imam. I can be my own leader, my own provider, my own everything. Now, for a lot of people say, but what's wrong with that, bro? For the first time, women have suffered and suffered. The narrative of the suffering, feminism and all that's been for a long time. So, yes, and indeed, some women have suffered. We're not denying that. What I'm saying is that for the first time in humanity's history, really, on a large scale, where women are so unhappy with whatever they have or whatever is provided for them. Both ways. Even if they have what they think that they worked for, and society has been conditioning them through education, through social restructuring, for the first time, they're still unhappy. Why? Because it's unnatural. Women in their programming, their biological fitra, they expect the man to take them to places they've never been before. It's just something. And again, relatively, you don't have to be on a mountain. The mountain is just a parable. But for the first time, they don't need to. They've been themselves to even better places. Yet, that biological program still longs. No matter how much you're going to chastise, recalibrate, re-educate, restructure society, bottom line is human beings are true to their fitra, to their biological programming that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put in them. And that is why they're not happy. I have everything. I have my own ship. I'm my own captain. I don't need a man. Yet at 35, 40, they're depressed. Because their internal clock, that system, is crying out loud and saying, what are you doing? And that voice is fighting with the other voice, the voice of propaganda, who's saying, no, no, you don't need that. Don't listen. Suppress it. Change yourself. Don't be a woman. Be a man. Be Both. Be in between, whatever it is. Identify as a cat if you have to, or fridge. Whatever it is, don't listen to your internal fitra. And this caused so much depression in women. Women are at an all-time low, sadness, not to mention the antidepressants that they're taking. And men as well, because, well, they're somehow related. And one is suffering, well, the other one's suffering as well, and vice versa. So, due to this modern restructuring, this modern propaganda, based, of course, on a false assumption that women have always been victims and they've always been, basically abused by men, women are now at the lowest they've ever been because men don't have the capability now. And even if they do, she's already had her own capabilities and she's experienced certain things that he's just, well, not that good. While before, relatively speaking, whatever he did his best, that was good because she just didn't have those. Now people are saying, but wait a second, shouldn't women do this, and opportunities and work for themselves? And Nusayba did this and Khadija did that, radiallahu anhuma. And while there's, well, obviously Khadija was Khadija, no doubt. Of course, that story is distorted. I talked about it many times. And of course, while these events or these examples are very, very few, the reality is that everything comes at a cost. You see, my dear sisters and brothers, you cannot have the cake and eat it at the same time. It just doesn't work. Everything has a cost. You have more independence, which you think is positive. In a sense, when you look at just the word by itself, wow, it's positive. You have more money. Wow, it's positive. What's wrong with that? Right? Shouldn't someone have success, education, independence? If you just word it like that and listen like that, it sounds positive. However, the world is not only an x-axis. There's y, there's z, and many multiple other axes that interact together to give what is life, in a sense, and the dynamics of life. Everything comes at a cost. Okay, more independence, more freedom, more money, more finances, more movement, more traveling, more time not being married, less children, less this, less that, more whatever, cars and other finances and other materialistic things, more surgeries, more decisions, more whatever it is that you sisters or brothers like. But it comes at a cost, specifically for sisters. While the society has always been, in a sense, critical of men who don't do their job, who are not captains, who are not pilots, who are not imams, who are not leaders, right? Society is not very critical of women who don't do their part, not being women. Why? Because they're chasing what the world usually focuses on, i.e., being a leader, a provider, and so on. So now they've stepped into their paradigm of masculinity, and the world applauds them for that. Does not chastise them for having left their original job. You understand? But the interesting about women is they can have a mixed strategy. They can say, hey, I'm a woman. I need to be softer. I need to be taken care of. I need to be provided. I need. And when things don't work well, she can be like, well, I have my own thing. I am my own captain. I don't really need you. So they have this mixed strategy, right? But remember, specifically again, while for men, the cost of not pushing hard and not developing and not being the best man you can be will come that you'll be just priced out of the market. You just won't be able to do what you're supposed to do in this life. You're going to be just left on the side there. Yeah, you live, alhamdulillah, you're going to the masjid, you're praying, you're okay, you might be a good person, but so many brothers, that's all they get. As for women, while again, all those lists of 10, 15 things that women are so much chasing, running after their whole life, especially in the early ages of life, at the expense of their best value ever, which is the early ages, it comes with a big cost. And that cost is that by the time they've already reached all that and they have that type of attitude that I can just do myself, they themselves have they have priced themselves out of the market because now, 30, 35, whatever, high achiever, wealthy, so-called I am Khadija and all that. But bottom line is men don't want you now anymore. Now, no matter how much you want to condemn and shame those men, again, you can't go against their biological programming. While some men are okay with marrying other women who are older, no doubt. But most men won't. And you cannot force them. That's the thing you have to understand. I keep explaining this. No matter how much you want to shame them, no matter how much you want to say, and these are only rational explanations to justify to themselves so they don't feel as bad as they do actually in reality. Women will say stuff like, guys are just scared of a strong woman. Who the heck wants a strong woman? And what does a strong woman mean anyway? Are you mean like muscles? You mean your ability to make money? Or you mean strong strength and femininity, i.e. you can take care of children, you can give intimacy, you're beautiful, you take care of yourself, you stay within feminine energy, and you have the patience and ability to not flip out if you have one child. One child now and the women just throw themselves on the floor. That's where the strength would be. But if you're talking about like UFC fighting type of strong woman, waking every morning at 5, taking the train, going, fighting with people at work, getting promotions, that's the type of strength that you're talking about, being all over social media, screaming and fighting with Dawa bros. Right? Now, men are not interested in that. Honestly, I'm telling you, from the side of men, they're just not. Now, no matter how much condemnation, shaming, guilt tripping you're gonna do, and re-education, realignment, they don't care. It's not going to happen. You might catch a few here and there, but long term, it won't work because men are, in a sense, true to that biological programming. And no, men are not scared of strong women and all that. It's just that they don't like them. And no matter how much you want to fool yourself that men are scared of strong women, that's not going to change the fact that you're going to most likely be alone. So, again, we don't want to go, what aboutism? What about this? What about that? But in reality, the way the world works, the way Allah has made it for thousands of years, it was working like that. The gender roles that were divinely revealed. And sadly, that even some dais are confused today and they try to twist and manipulate so it fits the feminist narrative because a lot of the women have the purchasing power. If you look at most of the subscribers on many of these weak channels, even though they have millions of subscribers, are women because it's a song that they like to hear. But no matter how much these dais or whoever tries to continuously condemn, those revealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those gender roles, that system of operation was what made things work. There was always problems. This dunya is not supposed to be Walt Disney. There's always going to be problems. But things worked. Now there's problems. The problems were not released. And things don't work anymore. So the gender roles that Allah has devised for us, that system that Allah has devised for us, was how it worked. And people returning back to that. Women fighting the urge to YOLO or fear of missing out, whatever they have, all these acronyms, is her best strategy to stay within her feminine nature. I know, what about this, what about that, but what about this doesn't solve the reality. Or what about the men are weak and that's why we're doing this? I understand that there's cause and effect, but I'm telling you that the current strategy is only going to continue to feed, well, depression and anxiety, specifically in women. Specifically in women. Men as well, no doubt, because again, the two coexist. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that we are part of each other. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has united us in this fitrah and in this objective in life. But people don't want to listen. They want to reinterpret things. They want to come up. So it fits the modern paradigm. It fits the feminist narrative. It's only hurting us. Remember, sisters, while you might be patting yourself in the back, you have an amazing job and then you've traveled all over the world and you have an amazing salary and all that. Bottom line is, most men are not going to want to marry you. And bottom line is that deep down inside, you know that whether you like to be married or not, your body is screaming for that companionship, for having a family and children, because you're reprogrammed like that. And you're not going to be happy because no matter how many achievements you can list on your list, it comes at a cost. And the cost is you pretty much not being happy and being single. And even if you get married to some man, that man might not be able to provide anything for you that you don't already have. And this is not about the fact that you have things. It's about the fact that the world has been so harsh on men in the last few decades that it's created what's called the two-man problem. You and him are competing pretty much for the same spot, whether it's in the market, job market, in many places, especially in who holds the power. The power dynamics is huge. And because you guys are so similar in everything, in your studies, in your finance, you achieve maybe even more than him, your attraction towards him is going to be minimal, if any. Therefore, your marriage will most likely, may Allah protect, fail. And you're going to be back to square one. May Allah protect us. The solution is to go back to the Quran Sunnah, go back to what Allah has revealed. Even if you feel that you have the desire to fulfill what the world is saying, fight it and fall back into your given position. And if the man does his work according to Islam and the woman does her work and her position according to Islam, then there's a chance, a better chance of things working out and people actually being true to their fitrah, the way they're created, and the system matches the hardware, inshallah. If not, well, we have short circuit. And that's why the world is in such a mess. May Allah protect us. If you guys have enjoyed this video, let us know what you think. And leave a comment, subscribe, like, and of course, make sure you check out the description in the video. Support the dawah. We can make more videos with your help. Barakallahu fikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.